Hi, I'm Mrs. Tiefer and I teach ninth grade at the high school. And I am going to talk to you about Tara Westover's memoir, Educated, which is one of your options for summer reading. A memoir is basically a book, a real story about a person's life. And I like to think of it as a collection of memories. So Tara Westover had a very unique childhood, and this is her collection of memories about that childhood. She grew up with survivalist parents in Idaho under a mountain, on the side of a mountain, and they were prepping for economic collapse. It was referred to as Y2K back in the day. You should ask your parents about it. And so they were doing things like, prepping canned goods and burying guns in the yard. They had go bags for being able to get away and go hide in the mountains at any time. She also dealt with various forms of abuse and what appears to be mental health issues by some of the male members of her family. They did not seek any medical care from medical professionals outside of the house. And then she never attended public school of any kind. She wasn't homeschooled. She didn't receive any formal education until the age of 17. So we learn through a series of events in the book that she is at some point able to get away and teach herself and be able to cram and pass some entrance exams and start college. So one of the things that you might want to think about as you're reading this book is, what does it truly mean to be educated in America? So we are asking you to write 3 responses to the book, and each response should be 300 words. This should fill about 1 typed page. There are many things that you can talk about in your written responses: plot, character, themes, setting, reviews of character behaviors, things you related to, things you disliked, things that shocked you. Maybe ask the character questions about her experience. But our suggestion is that you divide it into beginning, middle, and end. So for the rest of this video, I am just going to talk you through how I might divide the book out if I were completing this summer reading assignment as a student. So for the first section, I would write about what she thought of as her normal, quote unquote, normal life on the mountain with her survivalist family. So I might talk about what it was like for her. She certainly wasn't going to school. She wasn't leaving every day. So I would talk about things that her father would tell her, the abuse that she experienced, what they did for money, how they were planning for the collapse. I would just go into some of that detail. For the second section of the book, I would talk about when she does actually get away and start receiving some formal schooling. She very quickly realizes, maybe not quickly, she comes to understand that she is a very intelligent person. She ends up studying in England and at some of the Ivy League schools on the East Coast, and she goes on to get a PhD. So I would probably write about that section of her life where she gets away and receives a different kind of education than what she had received growing up. For the final section, I would write about the actual freedom, and this is a very small section of the book, but I would write about the freedom that she experiences when, not because she wanted to, but when she does truly break free of her family. But the positive part of that is that she breaks free from some of those really damaging and negative beliefs and feelings that she grew up with about herself and about just her perception of the world. So in that section, I might try to connect that with what we're experiencing in the summer of 2020 with some of the racial unrest in our country. She grew up with people who feared outsiders, and you come to find out that she never learned about the killing of, about how Hitler killed 6 million Jews. She never learned about slavery in America. She never learned about Dr. Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. And again, was taught to fear anyone, regardless of their religion or color or anything about them. She just to fear anybody who was an outsider. And yet she is able to transcend that experience growing up and become a historian and open her heart and her mind to people who are different from her. So I think that might be a great way to end my written responses and connect it to what some of us are experiencing and thinking about in this summer of 2020. So please share this video with a friend if you know someone who's struggling with summer reading, or if you know someone who picked this book, Educated by Tara Westover. And go ahead and just subscribe to our English department YouTube channel, Cruisers Can, so that you can continue to get help with the summer reading and meet your English teachers.